going to obviously get her some free airtime, keep her in the public eye in some way. So she basically jumps on the bandwagon. She's on the red carpet, with someone who is hot at the moment. So she picks yet another dummy to basically, take a turn to see if they can break up. I said it. I said, why waste your time? Why waste your time on Lori Harvey? Because we know that it's going to be wasted time. It's going to be for nothing. So, we see picture after picture. She's up there with a guy on the red carpet. This guy, is up there because he's successful. We have the guy, the snowfall guy up there. He's hot at the time. He goes to kiss her on the red carpet, and she turns her cheek to him. She never kisses the guy who she's supposed to be involved with. Never kisses the black guy that she's involved with, even though this guy is supposed to be the guy that she's given this chance to. I keep, hearing this. I keep getting this same situation. I'm having these conversations with these women on Facebook and whatnot, and they're saying, you guys are just mad. You're mad about Lori. She's doing what she's supposed to be doing. She's out here. She's with these guys, but she's not supposed to waste her time with these guys. She is, she's not being run through. You guys are just mad. You're just mad because she's an attractive woman. They're living vicariously through these women like Lori Harvey and Sierra, and we get these same excuses for abhorrent behavior. You're just going out here and you're basically using these guys for dates and for, photo ops. And, as we can see, look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys, with this 26-year-old woman, and nobody thinks that this is a bad situation. Nobody thinks that this is not something that, is, it's something that, a young lady should be doing. Is just on the cock carousel with all of these guys. And then we're supposed to believe that she's not sleeping with these guys. And if she is sleeping with these guys, that it's okay because she's dating. Okay. And here again, we see that, women are gauging their lifestyles based on, what men do. If men do it, it should be okay if I do it, but you're not a man. So you should not gauge your life based on a man's life. So, this is childish. You have girls growing up looking at little boys on the playground and coming up being angry and looking at how boys are coming up and gauging their lives as being meaningless unless they live their lives as if they are little boys, and as they grow up as young men, and then as they get older as men. And then they wonder why men don't want them, because men don't want men. And here again, we have Eboni K here trying to explain it to us in a way that is palatable for us to consume. So let's take a listen to what Eboni K has for us to see if it's palatable for us to consume. See if it makes any sense. See what you guys think.
Point I need to make plain. There's absolutely nothing controversial around a 26-year-old woman having a series of relationships that expire around the 1-year mark. And even the framing of it as short-term relationship hopping is both disingenuous and, quite frankly, it's corny. See, Lori Harvey is doing exactly what she should be doing at this stage in her life. And truth be told, she's doing what more of us should be doing.
According to who? Okay, so she says that it's short term, people saying that it's short term relationship hopping. And she says, according to who? Okay. Okay. According to men. Men judge these things. We judge and we say that it's short term relationship hopping. It's whorish behavior. Um, look, we as humans are not supposed to be around, large numbers of people. We're supposed to make a choice. This is tantamount to the paralysis associated with having too many things to choose from. This is what Kevin Samuels talked about in the relationship store, in the husband store, where you go in and the women have so many husbands to choose from to where they can't make a choice, to where they keep climbing floor after floor until they get to the point to where there are no more husbands left. And this is where we're starting to see, like in Korea, like what BGS showed in that last show that he showed, that documentary, where the women are thinking that they can freeze their eggs and have a family after 40. They think that their time is limitless, that they have a limitless amount of choices of men that they can just continue to just roll the dice and roll the dice and roll the dice. And eventually they will find the perfect man. That's insane. And no one's telling them that this type of behavior is just crazy. But every woman out here is saying the same thing, whether they're fat, short, skinny, tall, buck-toothed, spock-eared. It doesn't make any difference. No matter what oddity they have going on, they all think they look the same. They all are going to have the same choices. It doesn't matter. No one is dealing with this, with any kind of different variables. They all think they have the same choices as Beyonce. And this is lunacy at its finest. And at some point, we as human beings are going to have to fix this, because it's going to come to a point to where it's going to be people are going to not be able to deal with the reality that they're going to eventually have to face because of the lie that they're being told from the time they're kids to when they become adults. Eventually, they're going to be just like this old lady that's saying that she said that she deserves a man, and she's lost her teeth, and she's fat, and she's, she looks horrible, and she thinks that she deserves a man. regardless of her choices that she's made, and and where she is in her life. Well, let's move on.
She's meeting and she's getting to know these young men, these potential life partners, over the course of many months. She's seeing what their personalities are like in a variety of situations and environments. She's witnessing their decision making in real time. She's experiencing what it's like to travel the world with them, and it seems like she's even allowing some of these men to spend time with her and her family in order to see what those vibes are like. And guess what? It's called dating. And see, the problem with so many of us that feel a way about Lori dumping these men after around the 365-day mark is that I think she might be triggering a particular crowd of folks that tend to stay in dead-end relationships for too damn long.
See, and this is mixing and matching. See, she's pointing at one type of relationship where people are staying in relationships that may have problems, and she's trying to say that Lori, who's in a relationship that may not have any problems whatsoever, because you can't get me to think that there are problems in every single one of those relationships that she was in with all of those guys, all of these guys, these young men that she dated. In every single one of those relationships she was in, those were dead end relationships. I just don't. I don't think that's. That's. I just find that hard to believe. I have to. There's something just not sitting well with me with that. And I have to see. Ebony's, stretching with that, unless Lori has some problems, because she's the factor that's the same in each one of those relationships. She may be petty. She may have conditions in those relationships that can't be met. But it amazes me that in these relationships or in these situations that every time women talk about these relationships, that they never find fault with the women. It's always with the men. They always find fault with the men, but they never find fault with the women in these relationships. They hop from man to man to man, but they never find fault with them. That amazes me. Well, let's move on.
And I get it, right? Some of us were raised that you hold on for something for dear life, even when you know that you are no longer interested or that particular relationship or partner is no longer serving you. See, some of us see more than enough in a year's time to know that someone is not best suited to continue on this thing called life alongside us. But no, we continue, right? We stay with that person anyway, because we care what other people think or have to say. Perhaps we are afraid of being alone, or the really scary, starting over. And then there are those of us who are frankly just so used to mediocrity and even sometimes full-blown trauma.
You notice how in every little, commentary that Ebony gives, she always brings up the same. She tells on herself, every time she talks about mediocrity, and not only herself, all of these women have issues with being normal, mediocre. They have a problem with being mediocre. Normal life is just so dreary to them. And this is part of the problem. Why they always have this problem with explaining why so many women leave relationships and why they divorce men to the tune of 80%. And the reason is because they become bored easily, because they always want more. You know, when you hear them talking about being in a relationship, you know, what do they bring to the table? They always talk about, I can get more out of that man. I can, you know, organize him. I can, you know, organize his business. I can, you know, make him do more. you know, I can be his partner. You know, all of the things that no man wants. Those are all of the things that somehow they've been told are the things that we want. And they wonder why there are movements of men going to look for women elsewhere. And it's because our women are not being conditioned to be what we want. They may be pretty, but they're not feminine. And they don't see the difference. They think because they're pretty, they're feminine. But there's a difference. You know, we see that a lot of women are not what we want within that year's time also. You know, we see it in a lot less time than that. But a lot of times we men settle a lot quicker than women do. And she doesn't even realize that. You know, but in this commentary, you hear a lot of the bitterness and the disdain that is there early on in the beginning stages of the relationship, even when you're starting to try to get to know this person. You know, you're trying to measure up to a standard that is so huge that it's not even, you know, it's almost insurmountable, you know, and it makes me think about this picture they showed with Eve and her husband. And these women were talking about Eve and her husband on Facebook. And they were talking about, you know, how great she was, and he was going to make sure that, you know, they're talking about how he was, you know, this exemplary, you know, image of masculinity and whatnot, and how she would never have to work again. And, you know, I said, okay, well, look on the other end of that. You know, Eve put down all of that street hood, you know, gravitas that she had, you know, all of that tattoo shit, all of that's gone. You know, we don't even see any of that. Her hair she looks just like a white woman. I mean, she's wearing ball gowns. She is elegant. She's learned how to walk. She's learned how to talk. She's learned how to be quiet, be demure. She is you know, she has learned the part. Eve in her current state is everything that a black man would want. So, problem solved. So if that's the case, you know, be like Eve. Now, if you were to swap it out and say, be like that white woman that's with that man, you would have a problem. But if I say, be like Eve, you don't have a problem with it. See, but you don't want to learn the skills to be like that. You want to be the mouth popping Eboni K here. You want to be the, you know, the total opposite of that, which is the exact opposite of what we want. We don't want this. And this is what you guys constantly want to be. But let's get deeper into this.
That we are conditioned to stay in that level of relationship because it's strangely comforting to us, because it is indeed so familiar. And see, all of that thinking comes from the same dark and scary place. It's called the scarcity mindset. But see, I don't have a scarcity mindset because I serve an abundant God. And my God tells me that there is indeed plenty. So I can't pretend.
Now, this is another thing. See, this is how they twist God into doing their bidding when God is not. This is not what God is about. God doesn't do this. God is not saying anything about giving an abundance of a hard-headed woman, giving her any of this stuff that she's talking about that she wants or desires. God actually talks about, putting a curse on a woman like this and striking her bald. If I'm not mistaken, and I don't think I am. But she doesn't want to hear that part. But this scarcity mindset thing that she's talking about, these are all things that we talk about in the manosphere. All things that Kevin Samuels talked about, all these things that she spat on while he was still alive. You want to talk about scarcity mindset, and abundance, if that's the case, you are at a disadvantage, because if you're trying to wait us out and think that there's more men out here, you can just go out here and just get jumped from man to man to man. Yeah, you can do that for a little while, but eventually your looks are going to fade. Your edges are going to get frayed. Your roots are going to get nappy. The makeup's not going to cover up the imperfections, and we'll start to see you for what you are and who you are. And your foul attitude will just bubble up to the surface. We won't put up with a lot of that. No matter how pretty you are, and we'll just start bouncing around too, because there are a whole lot of women out here, and we'll do what you guys hate the most, and that's we'll date younger women. We date those younger women, and then you guys will do what you do, which is to basically demonize us for basically dating younger women. And then we'll continue to hop on these flights and go and date women who are more feminine and who like being with men and who like cooking for men and who like catering to men. And while we're doing that, you guys are going to be sitting over here hating life, and you'll be doing commentaries like this, talking about where are the men and why do the men not want to be bothered with us. And you'll be talking about Lori Harvey, and you'll be talking about Sierra and all of that, while the majority of the men out here will not want to be bothered with you. See, because there are starting to be a lot more programs talking about what we're talking about, because there are a lot more men starting to talk about these issues, and these issues are starting to become relevant, and they're starting to become a lot more visible. At first, a lot of these things are being ignored, even by people like Eboni K. But even the girls in college, even girls in high school, are starting to see that a lot of these issues are starting to be, pretty visible. And it's not just people just talking. It's become a reality. It's even starting to become a reality in nations overseas. So it's become something that needs to be dealt with. So while you're talking about these things like an ostrich with her head in the sand, the rest of the world is going to keep moving towards solving these problems. And you're starting to sound dumb, Eboni. You're really starting to sound dumb. And I thought you were starting to come around with your last review. But you popped right back over to this you know, abundance mindset, and then you try to throw God on it, which is really corny because God is not on your side with regard to that, because God would require for you to humble yourself and find you a man and not try to be one. So let's hear what else you have to say.
And to be outraged or even concerned about a 26-year-old woman spending 4 seasons with a series of gentlemen callers only to then decide that it is time for her to move on. And keep in mind, we're all kind of assuming that she's even looking for a life partner. It's very possible that this young woman might be perfectly fine, even content, happy to date in perpetuity. It happens. Everybody doesn't want to be married. Everybody doesn't want a life partner, shocking as that may be. Lori Harvey might prefer to live her life with a series of attractive and enjoyable male companions. And quite frankly, I can't find a damn thing wrong with that.
And that's why your life is ruined. You know, that's the very, very reason why her life is ruined, is because, see, women like this have basically, they basically told these young ladies that this type of behavior is okay. And you continue to do whatever it is that you want to do, Lori, and, be just like me, instead of, saying, Lori, don't be like me. Don't continue to chase penis all over the place. Lori, while you're young, find you a man and live, get you a good life, have you some kids now, have them while you're young so you can still have some semblance of life later on. You're not doing that. What you're telling her is to basically just trash your life out, just like you, Ebony. While men out here, you're demonizing us, while we're telling her the right thing to do. We're out here actually trying to save her. And the women are out here trying to tell her to be the biggest whore that she can be. Go out here and just rustle up you as much penis as you can. You just go and see the world, be with as many men as you can. Now, I'm going to go back 20 years, go back 30 years and see if the message was the same. The message was not the same. You go in any church, the message, that is not the message. And this woman had the nerve to bring God into this. And you tell me who's evil. And then they sit up and they throw up like they're deities. Lori Harvey and Sierra. For all these women and little girls to be like. And they don't go out and give a real breakdown of what they're doing, of their behavior or whatever the case may be, and try to give some realistic point of view about what they should do in that type of situation. No. They tell them whatever you're doing is right. It's good. Whatever you want to do, you can go out and wear buck naked suits. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do. Nobody cares. And they tell all of us to mind our business. Mind our business. See, this is feminism. This is feminism. This is the sexual revolution. That's what that is. She can do whatever she wants. She can wear whatever she wants. She can do whatever she wants. And, you know, whatever happens, you know, it's not her fault. It's whoever's fault, whatever's fault, but it's not hers. She is not responsible for any accountability, any actions that happen. You know, it's just, you know, it just blows away in the wind. No accountability. That's where it is now. Yeah. So this is where it is now. But I just wanted to put this out here. I want you guys to, you know, tell me what you think in the comments. You know, I know it's bullshit. You know, I tell you, man, we have come so far away from true north on the compass. Let me tell you. This kind of reminds me. Look, I was looking at Married to Medicine. My wife was looking at Married to Medicine, and so one of the doctors was wearing a dress, and her husband was looking at the dress that his wife was wearing, and it was see through and whatnot, and it was just a past weekend. I can't remember what the name of the show was. She was going out with these other ladies, and I said to my wife, I said, that dress is kind of inappropriate. She said, it's after 5 dress, and it's after 5 dress. It's appropriate. I said, okay, well, let's see what the other ladies are wearing. She said, it's a matter of opinion. Just getting at me. So I said, okay. So then, she goes to the place. She's talking to the white lady about the wine and everything, about getting everything together. So the other ladies come, they see, before she gets there, her husband's there, he's talking and everything. He looks like a kind of geek doctor though. And she says, I can see my panties. She said, well, maybe I need to take the panties off. He doesn't say that, shit's inappropriate or nothing. So, he's pushed over for his wife, so he's going to let her go out there. He's not going to this event. So he's going to let his wife go out there in a buck naked suit, with her cleavage and booty cheeks showing, booty crack showing at the top. So, okay, fine. So she goes. And she goes. It's this all, women's event. I guess it's going to be some other men there and whatnot, but she goes, and the other women are like, oh, God, whatever she's selling, she's going to sell a lot of it. None of the other women are wearing dresses like she's wearing. And all of the women think that the dress is inappropriate. So, does my wife think that the dress is inappropriate? Nope, she doesn't. She holds fast. She's not gonna relent. She's not gonna give in. She does not think that the dress is inappropriate, even though the dress is fucking inappropriate. But that's because that shit has been drilled into the women out here that they should be able to wear whatever they want. And because the shit says it's after 5, then that means it's appropriate. But I'm telling you, just because the shit says it's after 5, that does not mean it's appropriate. Okay? And just because it's after 5 does not mean that the other women are going to support what you're wearing. Women are the worst with regard to judging other women. They're worse than us. I hope y'all know that. So, we need to bring back shame. We need to bring back modesty. We need to bring back some degree of home training, because we're going down a crazy road. I mean, with this shit going on here, with these sexy reds and all these other folks coming out here, I mean, it's getting worse and worse. I mean, what they're putting out here is pushing the line closer and closer to garbage than it's ever been. And I like grimy shit just like the next person. But there's a time and a place for grimy. And there's a difference between what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. And this Eboni K. Williams, assessment of Lori Harvey is far from acceptable. What Lori Harvey is doing is this serial dating shit of men who are clearly acceptable, except for, I don't know. Shit, she's gone from Future to, this last guy. You can't tell me that every one of these guys was just unacceptable, trash men. I mean, that she couldn't have picked a husband out of any one of those dudes. And if she's not looking for a husband, what is she looking for? And if you put your business out in the street, then, then we're going to talk about it, right? So, Eboni, you're talking about it, and we're going to talk about it too. So, anyway, I'm gonna cut this off. You guys let me know what you think about this. I think it's some trashy shit, but yeah, let me know in the comments. And glad to be back with you guys.